Good evening, viewers. Welcome back to my channel. So today I am just going to do a quick test. First time I've connected this up of a new airbrush that came in the post today. My usual culprits are Harder and Steenbeck. I'm a big fan of the Ultra and the Infinity, which I use a lot. That's these two here. Obviously they're very good quality airbrushes. Certainly not cheap either, particularly the Infinity. It's an expensive brush, but I just wanted to get something that was cheap enough that I didn't mind using it for, well, basically just for sort of low importance tasks like either priming if I was going to use an airbrush to do primer, or if I was going to put a varnish coat on a model, whether that's a matte or a gloss coat. It doesn't really require much in the way of precision, so I figure it's always better to use something that's a bit less expensive, rather than putting the the sticky varnish through the better airbrushes. So as much as I love the Harder and Steenbecks, I picked up this off eBay. So this is don't really know much of what it's a copy of. I assume it's a knockoff of some sort, a copy of another brand, maybe an Iwata, I'm not sure. It's from a company called KK Moon, come all the way from China. So I have in the past had a few sort of cheaper airbrushes that have been basically sent from China. I've had mixed results. I had a couple of my first airbrushes I ever used were cheap ones from eBay, and they were really good. Served me for a long time. I've had a couple that weren't so good and ended up going in the bin as well. So, but for what this cost, I mean, this including postage, this was just over £15. So you can't really have too high an expectation for it. But I'm going to give it a fair crack of the whip and see what it sprays like. So the first thing, what comes in the box? It's very threadbare, just a plain cardboard box with a plastic insert that holds the little spanner you use for removing the nozzle. It comes with a colour cup. It does also come with a quick release connector. However, it is a different release connector than I've seen before, and maybe that's just that my experience is pretty limited. But normal one I'm used to is this type you see here on the Harder and Steenbeck. I don't have the opposite connector for this, so this isn't really much use for me. But that doesn't mean I can't get hold of one if I take a look for it. Just got to get one before I can use it. So I'm going to put these two out of the way for now because we're not going to be using those today. And I mean, first impression of the brush, when you look at it side by side with the Infinity, yes, it is a lower quality build. But we're talking about £150 airbrush there. This costs £15, so there isn't really a fair comparison. And for what it costs, it doesn't feel like it's poor quality built. It feels sturdy. There's a reasonably nice trigger action to it. Everything seems to be functional. Looks pretty good. I mean, I quite like the colour scheme on it as well. At this point, I've got no real complaints. I think it seems like it's going to should hopefully serve a purpose. I don't know if you can see down there in the colour cup. The one thing I would say is that the access to where the paint's going to feed into the brush is very small. So that is potentially going to make cleaning it a challenge. The colour cup is removable. But again, as you can see, there isn't a massive amount of access in there to get in there with a cotton swab or something else to clean it. So maybe it's going to be a little bit more difficult to clean it well. We'll see about that when it comes to it. Let's put that back on. So I think the first thing to do is just give it a test. Let's try it up. So I'm going to connect it up. Yeah, I've already mixed up a little bit of paint beforehand. It's Tamiya, just on the basis of I've always found Tamiya to be the easiest to spray, so I'm not going to make things more difficult than we need to at this point. So yep, thankfully it seems to be functioning. I can definitely got air coming through. Mechanism feels okay. Let's see how much pressure I've got on that at the moment. Pressure's a bit high there. Let's just put a bit of paint in and let's have a go. Okay, so let's give it a second. Okay, so we have paint. So it sprays. I wouldn't say it's terribly. There we go. Be a bit more. Yeah, I'm reasonably pleased with that. So, if you want to put a bit of distance above the paper, you can get a decent amount of coverage. It sprays nicely. But then if you want to take it in close, one thing I will say is it does appear to have a little bit of paint exiting when you first depress the air. So after you've used it, it seems like there's a little bit of paint residual on the nozzle. I don't know if you can see here, but I didn't do it that time. A little more paint. Get it right in close, you can do that as well. Yeah, I have to say, all in all, is it as nice to use as the Harder and Steenbecks? Probably not, no. And I think it's definitely going to be more complicated to clean. But I certainly would have no hesitation in recommending it as a first airbrush or as a backup brush for the same things that I plan to use it for, really, for glossing and priming, that sort of thing. It's really a very nice little brush. I'm pleasantly surprised, if I'm honest. I really didn't expect it to work so well. Well, there we have it. That is the I don't know if there's an official name for it, but it's from a company called KK Moon. I would say I have had brushes from them in the past. There's a slightly different style of brush that they sell that has a little valve, a little pressure regulation valve under the nozzle of the brush here. All right, I had 2 of those. I bought 2 of them a few years ago, and they were absolutely awful. So if you see those, I wouldn't necessarily buy one just based on the brand, but if you get this particular model, I think it really is absolutely fine. Right. Thank you for watching. I hope that's helpful. Any questions, any suggestions, please feel free to drop me a message. Thanks for viewing.